On a time, there was a man called Yaqub. He was chosen by Allah to become a great prophet, like his father Ishaq and his grandfather Ibrahim before him. May Allah's mercy be upon them. He lived in a place called Canaan and had 12 sons. The two youngest sons were called Yusuf and Benjamin. Their older brothers were very jealous of them, especially of Yusuf, because Yaqub loved him very much. Yusuf is dreaming. Move the sun, the moon, and the stars to the right spots. Nice work. The dream is now complete. Yusuf had a very strange dream, and when he woke up, he ran to Yaqub. "Father, I saw 11 stars, and the sun and the moon were bending themselves down in front of me." Yaqub was very happy. He knew that his son Yusuf was special, and that one day Allah would choose him to become a great prophet too. But he was also worried. "Yusuf, do not tell your brothers about this dream, or they will become even more jealous and angry." Yusuf's brothers were already full of anger and jealousy. "Our father loves Yusuf and Benjamin more than us. We have to do something," one of them said. "Let us kill Yusuf and be done with it," another one said. "There's no need to kill him. Let us just send him away to a distant land and our father will soon forget about him." Finally, they agreed on an evil plan to get rid of Yusuf, and Shaitan was very pleased with them. Yusuf's brothers went to Yaqub. "Father, we are going out to play in the fields. Please let our brother Yusuf come with us. We will take good care of him." But Yaqub had a bad feeling about this. "I fear that the wolf could attack him while you're distracted," he said. But they kept asking and pushing until Yaqub finally accepted. The next day, his sons left the house to go to the fields. Yusuf is racing with one of his brothers. Use the buttons to run and jump over obstacles. Well done. Yusuf has reached the water well with his brothers. Yusuf was so happy to go on a trip with his brothers. After they reached a distant place with a water well, the brothers suddenly jumped at Yusuf and grabbed him. Startled by their behavior, he struggled to free himself, but his brothers kept holding him until one of them took off his shirt. Then, ignoring his desperate pleas, Yusuf's brothers dropped him into the deep well. Yusuf's older brothers put blood from an animal on Yusuf's shirt and went back home. "Father, we were racing against each other while Yusuf was alone with our belongings. Then a hungry wolf came and devoured him." They gave their father Yusuf's shirt with the animal blood on it. Yaqub knew they were lying. If the wolf had attacked Yusuf, this shirt would be torn apart. "I will ask Allah for patience with what you have done." But Yaqub knew that he would not be able to hold his beloved Yusuf for a very long time, so he became very sad and cried many tears. Good work. That's much better. Yusuf felt lonely in the deep and dark well. He thought of the warmth of his home, the smile of his father Yaqub, and of playing with his brother Benjamin. He was very sad about what his older brothers have done to him. Allah inspired Yusuf that one day he will meet them again, and that Yusuf would remind his brothers of what they had done to him. On that day, they would not recognize him because he would have grown and become an important man. Yusuf understood that this was a test for both him and his father Yaqub. And then he remembered the stories of how Allah had tested his great-grandfather Ibrahim and Ibrahim's son Ismail too. For 3 days and nights, nothing happened. Then a group of thirsty people came by to draw water from the well. They arrived with a caravan that was on its way to Egypt. Help Yusuf reach the water bucket. Turn the crank to lift the water bucket. Thank God, Yusuf has been finally saved. The travelers were very surprised to see a handsome boy holding onto their water bucket when they pulled it back up. What a healthy, good-looking boy! Let us take him to Egypt. We can sell him on the slave market for good money. They tied him up and covered him with a blanket so that he could not be seen by people who knew him. Egypt was a distant land, far away from his home. But Yusuf remained patient because he knew that this was all part of God's plan. When the caravan arrived in Egypt, the travelers took Yusuf to the slave market and sold him to a wealthy, powerful man who was called Al-Aziz. He was one of the leaders of Egypt in charge of the Egyptian treasury. Al-Aziz took Yusuf to his house, where he said to his wife Zuleikha, "This boy is part of our household now. I want him to feel comfortable and be happy. Maybe this boy will be good for us. Perhaps we will adopt him as a son." There are many things to do. Help Yusuf do the housework. Yusuf grew from a 12-year-old boy to a strong, good-looking young man. His master, El-Aziz, liked Yusuf a lot and treated him very well because Yusuf was polite, kind, and honest. And he was very beautiful, too. As time passed by, Zuleikha, the wife of El-Aziz, started to desire him, and each day the desire became stronger and stronger. One day, when Zuleikha was alone with Yusuf, her desire for him became so strong that she closed the door and tried to force him to love her. "Come to me," she said. Yusuf said, "God forbid! Your husband is my master and he's always been good to me." Yusuf knew that this was a sin. Zuleikha was not supposed to love another man, and if Yusuf gave in, he would betray his master who had given him a new home and treated him so well. Help Yusuf hide from Zuleikha. Yusuf raced to the door, Zulaykha close behind him. She got hold of his shirt, and when she pulled, she tore a piece off it. The door opened, and El-Aziz was suddenly standing there. Zulaykha was very embarrassed, so she lied. "Yusuf is evil. He tried to seduce me. You should put him in prison." But Yusuf's shirt was torn from behind, so El-Aziz knew that she was not telling the truth. "Zulaykha, ask God to forgive your sin." Many people started talking about what happened. They said, "The wife of El-Aziz tried to seduce her slave Yusuf, but he had no feelings for her and refused." Zulaykha was upset. She said to her husband, "People are saying bad things about me. You must put Yusuf in prison or people will continue to make fun of me." El-Aziz had no choice but to send him to prison, despite the fact that Yusuf was innocent. The prisoners want to sleep, but they're afraid of the mice. Put the cheese on the ground to lure them away. Well done. The prisoners have fallen asleep. Allah had given Yusuf a very special gift. He was able to explain the meaning of dreams. One day, one of the prisoners said, "I dream that I have bread on my head and that birds are eating it." Another prisoner said, "I dream that I am pressing grapes for wine." First, Yusuf told them about his prophecy. "I have followed the religion of my fathers, Ibrahim, Ishaq, and Yaqub. God has commanded that you must not worship anyone except Allah. This is the correct religion." Then Yusuf said, "You who dreams about bread on your head, you will be crucified and birds will eat from your head. And you who dream about pressing grapes, you will get out of prison and serve wine to your master in the palace. Please, when you get there, tell your master about me." As Yusuf predicted, the two men got out of prison. One was crucified and birds ate from his head. The other one was freed and returned to his master in the palace. But Shaitan made him forget about Yusuf, who remained alone in prison for a long time. The king of Egypt wants to sleep, but he needs his nightcap. Well done. The king has fallen asleep and is dreaming. Bring the cows on the right to the hungry cows on the left. What a strange dream. One day, the king of Egypt gathered his advisors. "I saw in my dreams that 7 fat cows were eaten by 7 skinny cows. Then I saw 7 green ears of corn and 7 other dry ones. What is the meaning of this?" Suddenly, the man who was in prison remembered, "I know a man who can explain dreams." So he was sent to ask Yusuf about the king's dream. He replied, "For 7 years you will have a lot of food, but you should only eat a small part of it, because 7 years of drought will follow, and if you do not save your food, people will have nothing to eat." The king was very grateful when he heard about Yusuf's interpretation of his dream. "Bring him to me. I want him to be my personal advisor." But Yusuf refused to leave prison. "I will stay here until everyone knows that I have not done what they say about me." So the king asked Zulaykha, and she admitted, "Yusuf is a good person, and I was the one who did wrong." Finally, everyone knew that Yusuf was innocent. The king made him the guardian of the storehouses because he saw that Yusuf was a trustworthy man. Help Yusuf by putting each type of food into the matching basket. Excellent work. The storehouse has been filled up. "7 years had passed, and a huge drought began, as the king's dream had foretold. People from all countries and cities started to feel great hunger. One of these cities was Canaan, where Yaqub and his family lived. "Father, we must go to the storehouse in Egypt," said one of Yaqub's sons. "They are giving out food bags to everyone." So Yaqub sent his sons off to Egypt to get food, and when they came to the storehouse, Yusuf recognized them. Yusuf's brothers could not believe their eyes. "Are you really our brother Yusuf?" He said, "Yes, I am Yusuf. I have put my trust in Allah, and indeed, Allah will not allow that those who are patient and do good will be lost." His brothers felt ashamed. "We have wronged you, O brother." Yusuf said, "No blame will be placed on you today. Allah will forgive you. He's the most merciful of the merciful. Now go home and take my shirt to our father, then bring him to me." The brothers traveled back home. When they arrived, they threw Yusuf's shirt on their father's face. "I can smell Yusuf's scent," said Yaqub. "He is alive." His heart was filled with joy, and so the brothers admitted what they had done and asked their father to forgive them. When they all returned to Egypt, Yaqub and his beloved son Yusuf were finally back together. They fell into each other's arms and cried tears of joy. Tap on Yusuf to see his dream becoming a reality. When all family members were gathered at Yusuf's throne, they were overwhelmed by his dignity and beauty, so all of them bowed down to him. "Oh, my father," Yusuf said, "this is the realization of the dream I had when I was a child. It foretold that we will meet here, and in my dream you were the sun, my mother was the moon, and the 11 stars were my 11 brothers.